My 2022 NBA draft hot takes, let's get into it. Paolo Banchero should be drafted number 1 over Jabari Smith Jr. I think that what the Magic truly need is a number 1 scoring option, and I see Jabari Smith being good, but he's not really on that number 1 scoring option tier that Paolo Banchero can be. And I could be so wrong about this, but Banchero, like, just watching him, in the regular season and like in the tournament, he just seems like an unstoppable force. You look at his build, he has like a Blake Griffin, LeBron James type build. And I say all this, in a video where I'm going to link down below, just because I believe it so much. I mean, he was like number 1 consensus all year. I don't even know what happened to make him number 3 now. The Magic scouts are just being kind of weird. Yeah, I made a whole video on it, so I'm not going to say anymore, but let's get on to the next one. Hot take number 2, and I'm kind of just going down the draft board list and just seeing what I think. I'm scared of Jaden Ivey in the fact that, like, I don't see that much star potential in him for people to be hyping him up this much. I mean, you see the athleticism, you see his vertical, you see his three-point shooting. They're all really good. I think the defensive potential is there, but he's shown a lot of signs of being a weak defender, in the tournament and in the regular season. But man, like, stars, like, I've not seen like any mid-ranges from Jaden Ivey, and I feel like a lot of guards who turn into stars, maybe besides like Trae Young, like they have a really good mid-range. And especially in Sacramento, even though I think Ivey is a really good fit in Sacramento just always seems to mess things up. So yeah, if he goes there, I don't know about him. I think he'll be like really good, maybe even like on a Fox level. Some people might call De'Aaron Fox a star. I think that's kind of like where Ivey's potential is. But I mean, having 2 De'Aaron Foxes, obviously, different fits, they're gonna fit well, I think would be pretty good, but I don't really see like the superstar potential. Hot take number 3, I think that Shaedon Sharpe should not be dropping. I see all the potential in the world for him. He's extremely young. He's like, what, a 48-inch vertical? I mean, it was like his own. Did he do that in an actual draft combine, or was that like his own little private combine? I don't really know. But I mean, the only real weakness that he's shown besides, not playing in a year, like actually organized basketball, is this like defensive like awareness and his off-ball defensive awareness. I don't know. I think a lot of young prospects have that, going out of their freshman year in college, and I guess even high school. Like, people don't really try that much in high school or AAU, at least on defense. Like, they'll go for the steals or the cool blocks, but like that's really it. They're not really there to play hard defense. So it shouldn't be too much of a worry. Like, he should go top 5 after Ivy, but scouts are gonna be weird. Like, sometimes I feel like scouts just overthink things for no reason. I understand it's like their job and everything's on the line, but just don't overthink it. Take the best prospect, because nothing has shown that he doesn't have work ethic. It's just unfortunate circumstances. Hot take number 4, I think AJ Griffin, unless he's going to like a Pelicans or Blazers, like a team that's trying to contend, he shouldn't be going top 10. I do not see the potential in him. I think he could be pretty good, but with his injury history and just the fact that, like, I don't know, in Duke he was a really catch and shoot guy. I just don't see him, like, when I watched him, he didn't really create space in any kind of way, and doing that as a shooting guard in the NBA is not necessarily the best, unless you want to be a role player. But if you're like a star player, the one exception is Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's the one guy who can like barely create space by himself, but is still able to average 25 points. But when there's so many other good shooting guard prospects in the draft, I just don't see why AJ Griffin should go top 10. For my next hot take, I think that players who go into the G League are just always going to be underrated. I mean, I'm not saying, last year Jalen Green should have gone number 1, but he was kind of underrated going into the draft. Now Dyson Daniels isn't, like, some mocks have him going 11 to the Knicks, which is crazy for him to drop that low. And then Jaden Hardy should easily go like top 16, 17. I think, like, my team, the Hawks. If the Hawks do not take him at 16, I'd be pretty mad unless we take, a good like positional guy. Maybe like if Jeremy Sohan dropped, then maybe, but I'd really want Jaden Hardy. And he was inefficient, I know, but that's always going to happen when you go into the G League. You're going into grown men, and not college, where in some games you're blowing college teams out by 40 because they just cannot compete with NBA type level players. For my next hot take, I think Nikola Jovic he should be a top 20 pick, and he's probably going to be a top 10 best player in the draft. Like, this 6'10 guy is so athletic, can handle the ball, can shoot. He has all the guard skills of 6'10. The only worry about him is defense, and I think if you just put him in a good defensive system with a good defensive coach, he has potential to be a good defender. I mean, yeah, 6'10, and he's not slow. Again, a lot of, not only the G League players, but the European and foreign players are going to struggle more against their grown men going against 30-year-olds than, playing college freshmen. Also, this might not be a hot take, but the next take, if you don't count Dyson Daniels as a point guard, I think this is like the weakest point guard draft ever. Like, to ever come out. I don't know. I am not really too much of a fan of, like Ty Washington. I think he could be like a good backup role player, but like any other point guard, Kennedy Chandler, another good backup point guard. I don't think, like, besides Jaden Ivey, there's gonna be no, and Jaden Ivey's a shooting guard actually. So yeah, the point guards, there's gonna be like no starting caliber point guards unless you count Dyson Daniels, in which case I can agree he's gonna be really good. My next hot take, and this might not be a hot take either, but if Ousmane Dieng does not go to the Thunder or the Rockets, he's gonna be an absolute, like, he's gonna be out of the league. Like, unless a team really prioritizes him and gives him the chance to actually be really good, I feel like he's just gonna be another one of those guys who, you know, doesn't really get the skill, and he kind of just, you know, just leaves the NBA. And you know what? I guess another hot take. I didn't think this would even be a hot take, but Johnny Davis falling, he's going to be a top, you know, 7-8 player in the draft. And I just saw a mock draft on Fanspo. You know, this was 2 weeks ago, but it was so in depth. And Johnny Davis fell to 16. 16 is crazy low. Even going to 11 is crazy. I think he should easily be like 7, 8, 9. Because I think Johnny Davis will be like the best perimeter defender in the entire draft. Let alone the fact that, you know, in college he scored 22 a game. And I could see, you know, in Johnny Davis's rookie season averaging 10 points per game, which is still really good as long as you're also a good defender. And for my final take, this is a really good draft for good role players. I don't think there's too many stars that are gonna, you know, appear from this draft, as in like all-stars. Maybe like 3. I could see the top 3 guys being an all-star, and then maybe Shaedon Sharpe making it 4. But role player wise, I feel like at least the first 25 picks are just going to be really, really good, like 6th men, 7th men, and that's good enough. Sometimes when you're a good team, that's all you need. So yeah, if you're a team that has, you know, picks 20 through 30, like anywhere in that, like that means like you made the playoffs and you're just looking for players to fill out the roster, then this is a really good draft for you. So that's all I have. If you guys enjoyed, please hit the like button, subscribe for more videos. I'm gonna make a lot once the draft actually happens. That's when I'm gonna be making a ton of videos, because finally I have something to go off of. And then definitely after free agency, I'm probably gonna be doing a preview of like every single NBA team. So just, yeah, subscribe, comment what you want to see next, and peace.